How you doing, Duff here? And what you're looking at is my water cleaning equipment as well as my Rachio Wi-Fi sprinkler controller. You might have seen the video where I installed that a few weeks ago. I'm now going to be attempting to install a rain shelter, or like I don't know, a pseudo roof, I guess, over this equipment to protect it from the elements, both from the sun and the rain. And I'm just going to try to document how it's going to go. So this is my starting point. I'm collecting my supplies for the project. Brought my saw out here, my table saw. It's not a table saw. Not sure what the proper name for that kind of saw is. Miter saw, maybe. Got that out here. Just carted over my building supplies, which is going to consist of two 4x4s. I'm sorry, two 4x4s, a number of 2x4s, and this PVC style roofing, which is what we also use in the chicken coop. And my basic construction plan, and again this is ad lib, all in my head, is I'm going to attach a 2x4 high in the wall there, maybe a foot below the roof line there, and then I'm going to have it slope downward and have two 4x4s as the front supports that the frame will attach to. So that's the grand plan. Doesn't seem like it should be too difficult, but those are famous last words. We'll see. Okay, so I just cut a 2x4 to 6 feet in length. I was going to go 5 feet wide. I'm going to go 6 instead, just to give me some extra coverage area that I could use in the future. Now, as far as getting this on the wall, since I'm by myself, I have to be creative here. I'm thinking what I'm going to try to do is get one screw sunk on the edge and then level it, spin the board up, level it, and then pop a couple other holes in the board just to score the wall to mark where I'm going to have to go, and then drop the board down and drill it and then push it back up, and hopefully, since I'll have that that screw in the left secured, it will still align with everything else when I bring the board back up in place, if that makes any sense at all. I don't think it does. So let's see how this goes. Okay, up there on the wall, I drilled a hole with my masonry bit, about 10 1/4 inches in. I measured it from the edge, and then I drilled a hole approximately the same distance here in my anchor board. And then I'm going to, oops. I'm going to start my concrete screw. Alright, so now that's poking out the back. And now I'm going to try to hold it on the wall and get it started. It should be really good. Well, it's kind of in, but obviously not secure yet, so let's go to phase 2. Alright, so you saw what I did there. I had the level on the board. I just left the masonry bit on there to punch through the wood and just to mark the spots on the wall that I'm going to be going into. So let's see how this goes. Okay, I got it up on the wall. The head on these are Phillips head, so I'm going to actually try to do the final tightening by hand, just to avoid stripping out the screws in case I ever have to pull them out in the future. Alright, we're still level. Good. Okay, so that actually is probably going to be the most physically demanding part of it. But the 2x4 feels good and sturdy there. So now I'm going to start building my frame. And yeah, I'm just thinking. I had one thought process where I was going to build the frame independent of this. Just build a rectangle and then just sink wood screws through into this. Actually, that's what I'm going to have to do. Never mind. Because of the way I have this mounted. Okay, never mind. But the gotcha is I might not have enough wood. I might have to get some more. Which always seems to happen with these sort of projects. Alright, after doing some extended consideration how I was going to put it together, I decided I'm going to go with kind of my original plan. I'm going to build the shelter as a standalone frame and then attach the back of it to that mounting board that I just put up there. So I'm going to use these metal brackets in the corner to reinforce it. I'm going to drop a long wood screw in the corner, but then I'm going to use the metal brackets to reinforce it to try to keep it from twisting and losing its shape over time. Okay, nice and sturdy. I'm going to rinse and repeat on all four corners, doing the same thing. Are relatively square. Now I still am going to have to run to Home Depot because I need one more piece of 2x4 to go down the middle. If you stand back, this is just imagine that this is the front of the shelter. That's the back. This is what's going to be extending over the water equipment, and then I'm going to have the PVC panels going across this way. So that's why I need another 2x4 in the center so I can support them in the middle. And then once I get that in place, I'm going to probably have to wait for Cindy to get home in order to actually get this on the wall. It's going to definitely be a two-person project. So at this point I think I'm going to be off to Home Depot. Go get my wood, get some more screws. I need to get a couple brackets, and I'll be back. Alright, I just returned from Home Depot. You might see there in the distance an additional 2x4 that I just bought. I bought some high quality waterproofing / stain for the frame of this, as well as some additional steel brackets. So I'm going to mask off around that board up there and get that painted before I attach anything else to it. Alright, I used some blue painter's tape to mask around that area. I'm a big fan of just masking in situations like this. I don't trust myself to freehand it, and if you get paint or stain in a spot where you don't intend for it to go, it's a pain in the ass. So I'd rather just take the extra time to mask it off. This is the stuff I got. Bare. This is good stuff. Solid color waterproofing and wood stain. Says it lasts 5 years on decks, 15 years on siding. So I'm hoping that I get somewhere in between there as far as longevity. Alright, there you go. Have the first coat of stain on there. It's called chocolate color. Since most of our other, like the ramps and the chicken coops, all painted a similar color, I'm trying to keep the color scheme similar. Okay, I got my first coat of stain on the actual roof. The part that's up is the part that's going to have the roof panel on it. The underside I'm going to probably wind up painting once it is actually on the wall. I'll just paint it from underneath, it'll be easier. So I need to get a second coat on that, and I have the second coat on the piece of wood that's going to be on the wall. So I'm getting there. This is a slow process. Looks like even with my masking there's a little bit of overrun in the bottom because that surface is stucco, so it's not exactly smooth. So I don't really care, to be honest with you. Okay, I've added 3 fatter L brackets up there on that support board on the wall. Yes, I know they're not spaced equally, but it's close enough. Their primary function is to at first just give me a ledge to stick the frame on, and then I will attach screws to the bottom of those metal brackets as well as directly from the back of the frame into the mounting board. So it'll be secured 2 different spots. Alright, I have a temporary support in, and I have a couple screws holding it against the wall. Yes, I know the front is not level. I'll be fixing that. It was a 2-person operation. Cindy helped me, thank goodness. Yeah.
You need me?
Nope. Okay, both the 4x4s are attached up top. Now I'm connecting them to the base here using some Capcons. The only problem is the holes in these brackets are too small for the Capcons. Got to go drill them out. Okay, at this point both of the side supports in the front are in place. They're secured to the concrete pad with Capcons. Shouldn't go anywhere. And now I'm just going through and putting a stain on the front supports. And the actual roof itself is going to probably have to wait until later in the weekend because I have some more stuff I got to do with that. Alright, I'm at my stopping point for today. I have the support beams painted, 2 coats of the waterproof / stain, and just need to get the roof panels on. So that'll be done probably Sunday afternoon or Monday. See you then. Good morning, Duff here. It's been a couple days back at this project, trying to finish it up this morning. The only thing I had to go out and purchase since the last time I worked on this was these adapters or offsets, whatever you want to call them, fittings that are used to attach the corrugated paneling. It supports the paneling, so there's no buckling or anything when you go to screw it in. So got that, got some more deck screws, and that was about it. So I'm going to put a couple screws into the fittings up top just to secure them, and then I'm going to do a loose fit of the roofing to make sure it lines up the way I want it to. Okay, I'm now cutting 9 inches off the roof panel so they fit better. For this. Okay, so I have the cut panels in place, cut about 9 inches off. That's my overhang. And I have, when you put these in, you overlap them by 1. So I have a screw going through 2 of the overlaps just to secure them in place so I can start applying or installing the rest of the screws. And these use your special screws that you use for this. They're wood screws with washers. Okay, I'm up top so you can see what I'm doing. These are the first 2 that I put in, and then I use the this long level just to kind of keep me in line, so I'm hitting the stud as I'm going down. And I basically just pre-drill a little hole, and then I just sink this in with my other drill. And you want to get it till it starts to pull on the plastic a little bit, but you don't want to crank it all the way down because it'll break over time. So I just snug it up. So I'm just going to be doing this quite a few more times for all 3 studs across the roof line. Well, it wouldn't be one of my typical projects if I didn't have to head out to buy some supplies that I forgot about or don't have. I thought I had enough of the special screws that are used for the roofing. I forgot just how many you actually use, because there's something like 24 seams across, and since we got three support beams, that means I need 75 screws. Unfortunately, I didn't do that math when I was at Home Depot yesterday. So I'll be back in a bit. back from Home Depot. Okay, one more set of screws to put in. As you can see, it's quite a few. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge to get this last set in because of clearance. We'll figure something out. Okay, if I would have one up with this back support another inch, I would have been screwed, I think. What I did is I pushed the drill bit in as far as it'll go in here, and I just barely have the clearance I need to get these in. I had to take my hat off so I could jam my head under there. I don't know if I mentioned, when you're putting these in, they have an integrated washer, and you basically are supposed to tighten it until you see that the washer material starting to flatten out underneath it. Like I said, you don't want to over crank it. So once the washer starts to kind of like pancake, that means you got it tight enough. This is totally safe the way that I'm leaning over the ladder, in case you were concerned. Totally safe. Alright, we're now underneath the shelter. I have all the screws in, the roughly 74, 75 screws that were needed to secure the panel. So it should keep it pretty secure even in some severe winds. Like I said, this is the same design that we've used on the chicken coop run over there. Use the same roofing, same screw design, and it's been through some pretty high winds and it's been fine. So I'm hoping to get the same scenario here. Nice and shaded underneath there, looks good. One thing I forgot to mention is when you're attaching those screws, you want to make sure that you're going either left to right or right to left, and you do it in order, side to side, because like if you start at either side and then you work towards the middle, there's a possibility that you could have buckling in the middle, which is going to make it look strange. So if you go from one side to the other, any buckling can be worked out on the edge. It'll not cause the whole panel to buckle. So that's something to keep in mind. I didn't mention that earlier. I have about a 9-inch overhang here, which is good. And my water equipment and my Rachio should be much happier now with the sun not beating on it and protecting it from the majority of precipitation. Other than the hard sideways rain, that stuff should stay pretty dry, which is awesome. So as usual, this project had some hiccups along the way. Not as easy as I thought. It's consumed the better portion of a couple days. But hopefully this will be still standing before I'm out of the house. That's my hope. So we'll see. So that's how I constructed a rain shelter over my water equipment. If you're looking to do something similar off the side of your house, this technique may work for you. Until next time, Duffman out.